Salute, Nick family. Welcome to the Queen's Court. We're here every Monday, 8 p.m., chopping it up about the Knicks. Last week, we talked about bigs and centers that might be available at number 11. And later in the first round, if the Knicks were to trade down. This week, we're talking specifically about second round centers that might be available for the Knicks. And whether or not they could potentially be better than Mitchell Robinson in time if he leaves in free agency, and whether or not they would give us more versatility than Jericho Sims gives us at this point. So we got 5 of them. We're gonna go through. We got Sim also behind the scenes. I'm not sure if the phones is up. We'll check that. There was some issues earlier. We'll see. But we'll be monitoring the chat. So looking forward to your input. I'm joined today by Stafford Don. I am Jarrell. Tony Crow, of course, my sidekick from Knicks and Bruises, whose Mark is with us today as well, or at that spot right there. That's him. He'll be back.
Mark?
Where's Mark? Right, where's Mark? He'll be back in a minute. And don't forget, if you haven't already, I'm sure the link will be in the description. The second annual NBK draft party in Atlantic City, 10 days away. And I don't know about the rest of the panelists and those who are going, but I'm amped up. It's like I'm counting down, counting down the days. It's going to be a lot of fun. I hope you guys can join us. So let's get right into it, fellas. How you doing today?
Triple header.
That's right.
Third show in a row. Let's get it.
Yeah.
Peace and love. You already know, Queen. Peace to Mark, TC, Jarrell. Nice to have you back, bro.
Yeah, man. Salute to.
It's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. Big up to the chat. Let's get it in.
Right.
Yeah.
Salute Steph for another invite. Salute to everybody in the panel. Everybody in the chat. I want to make an announcement. I will be attending the draft party. I'm going.
Oh. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Man. Wifey said I can go, so I can go. So,
Okay,
you know what I'm saying?
right. You're gonna have a lot of
doing 2 days?
See when you get
2
there.
days?
I don't know if I'm staying over, but I don't know how long I'm gonna stay into Friday. I gotta see.
Okay. Don't miss that basketball game though. But anyway, before we get into these specific second round prospects, just in general, what skills would you be looking for if the Knicks drafted a center in the second round? Are you looking for someone similar to what we already have, rim running big that can block shots, so we don't really have to change that much when they get into the game? Are you looking for more versatility, more shooting? Like the Knicks drafted a center in the second round, what would you be looking for? Let's start with you, Tony, and come around.
I think we got to do a change of direction. I think we got to bring a different dynamic than what we've seen over the past 4 years. I think we have to do that whether Mitch is brought back or not. I think an addition at that position that can stretch the floor a bit, still do some rim protection, but I think the biggest thing for me personally is stretching the floor. And it's just this quick side note, even if it's bringing in a guy like Quartet back, you know what I mean, as a third stringer that could come in and bring a different dynamic. But yes, in the draft as well.
Okay, Jarrell?
Definitely more versatile. I would like to bring a stretch big in it, but it doesn't have to be a big that actually shoots threes all the time. It could be somebody that at least have a little mid-range, can actually have a soft touch around the basket, can shoot free throws fairly well, so we can utilize them in the fourth quarter. But yeah, pretty much like more versatile on offense.
Okay, Mark?
You know me, man. Awareness and more aggressive when attacking the rim and look to score. Now, you don't have to be, the 15, 20 point, but you have to be, competent at the basket. Don't look out to pass every time. But for me, it's just all about the IQ, awareness, and, just commanding the paint and holding your own at times. So that's what I'm looking for more than anything.
Okay. Staffer?
Yeah, I gotta agree with all three guys. Same thing. More aggressive to the basket. Doesn't have to be a big to stretch. As Jarrell said, the mid range. go back up with the offensive rebound. Stuff like that what TC was saying also too. So all the guys made a great point that I agree with. So yeah.
Okay. All right. So then the next 5 prospects, we're going to get right into it.
Yeah.
Each of them are pretty different from each other. So we'll just talk about what they bring, whether or not you like them for this team, whether or not you like them as an eventual Mitch replacement if Mitch doesn't resign. I don't know if any of these guys, well, Mark might disagree. I don't know if any of these guys are ready to step in year one and start. But I do think they have some upside in a few years to maybe be as good as Mitch, maybe. But we're going to also talk about Sims because remember, Sims, in my opinion, brings a similar style of game than Mitch, right? Rim runner, even though he's better on the perimeter defense. And
Screens better.
these guys are second round prospects that I think, a few of them can be a backup center right now.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about whether or not we see them as better than Sims for the backup spot. So let's get into it. Let's start with Christian Koloko from Arizona, 7 foot, 225 pounds. He's 22 years old. So he's played in Arizona, I want to say 3 years. 12.6 points, 7.3 rebounds, 2.8 blocks. So he's a rim protector for sure. 63.5% from the field, so he can score underneath the basket. He's not a stretch big in terms of taking 3-pointers, and he's a good free throw shooter, 73.5%, which in my opinion bodes well in terms of him, shooting in the short range. And we talked about him last week as well. Defensive presence, rim protector, lob threat. So similar to what Sims and Mitch has given us, we're not losing that with Koloko.
He's loud.
He also attacks the offensive glass. He's a good athlete with length, so he runs the floor as well. Playmaking flashes, I think he has to, get better there. Some post scoring, as well. I think he needs to get better as that. That offensively, his game needs to grow. I mean, 3 years in college, some would say that maybe this is it. We'll see. He needs to decrease his turnovers and his decision making and awareness, Mark, something you pointed to, has to get better. But for those who are familiar with him, let's talk about him. And those who are not, just from here, maybe you can get some sort of idea of the type of player that he is. What's your thoughts on him? Do you think he can eventually start in this league? And do you think he would be a better backup than Sims or give us a bit more versatility? Or do you just see him as a third stringer who would probably come along a few years down the line?
I'm gonna go first because they have there's 2 projections. They have one. He's going 39th. So if he's going 39th, I would take him around there because again he's raw, but there's high defensive potential, meaning high defensive potential when put in the right system. And I just think if you bring him here, he's gonna be a bench guy. He's no starter right now. He's more of a spot minute guy, like how we treated Sims. I think that's the way, if we was to draft him around 39, 42, if he was to fall that late, that's how we would treat him. But I think with structure and with a sense of how you want to run your defense, you can run a defense around him because his recovery time, his timing, his awareness, it got to work, but it's going to get better as time goes. And to me, 22 years old, coming in the league, I kind of like that because it just shows a little more experience and a little more, a little more juice. And again, he's a role player. If he becomes more better than that, that's a plus for us. But like I be a third string. He's gonna be a third string guy.
So he wouldn't beat out Sims, in your opinion.
Not right now because what Sims was showing, he was showing some stuff that Mitch couldn't even do.
Sherwin, did you hear that? Sherwin said the Mitch hate is strong because I think I said that Sims is a better perimeter defender.
He's a better pick and roll and screener. That right there for me is all I need to know because Mitch can't do either one as good as Sims does.
All right. Any other? Yes.
I'm a little familiar with him. I've actually seen him, watched him play a couple games. I disagree with Mark in the sense that I think he could start. I think he could beat out Sims. Not necessarily Mitch, but I think he could beat out Sims. I think he brings a dynamic defensively that Sims does not. As far as rim protection, and I think he brings a offensive ability that we have yet to see from Sims yet. Where Sims is a rim runner and a lob threat similar to Mitch, but this guy could actually work the post. You know what I mean? And that's with raw ability. You know what I mean? So I expect him only to improve, but then he still has that rim protection, that lob ability. You know what I mean? That we saw with Mitch and Sims. But I think he has a little bit more offensive skill, a little bit more defensive skill. So in that aspect, I think there's a chance that he could beat out Sims if the two went head to head for that starting spot.
I would say that Sims is probably a little better on the perimeter, but Sims is better on the perimeter than most.
I agree.
Than most centers.
Bro,
Yeah.
the thing is, he know how to hard hedge like he's a pro, and he recovers. And the thing with him, yeah, he might not be in like defensively, but his positioning is so good. If you watch him closely, his position.
This is Koloko or Sims?
No, Sims.
Yeah.
His positioning, and he's strong. You can't move him out you cannot move him.
Absolutely.
And when he gets the ball, he looks to goes up. His footwork is there, but with this team, he's not going to be able to show it because the way Tibbs runs the system.
Right.
That's why.
Okay. Any other thoughts on Koloko with in the second round?
I think Koloko's probably my favorite player that we're probably going to talk about today.
Oh wow! Okay.
He's number one for me.
Yeah, for the people that we're going to talk about today in the second round, I think he's my favorite going forward. In terms of offense, even though he didn't shoot threes during the season, right? But he's doing something now, like in his pro day and his workouts, he's showing teams that he can actually shoot the three. Like a lot of people are calling for that. It's the same thing with Mark Williams at Duke. Like he didn't shoot any threes at all. But in his workouts, in his pro day, that's a big part of his workout now. He's shooting threes at a consistent clip now. So with him almost shooting 75% from the line, that already proves, like you said before, he will have touch. And if he is out there by himself hitting the three, he can actually hit it sometimes. That's something that Mitch and Sims probably can't do and probably would never do.
Yep.
So just because of that, yeah, he will be more dynamic on offense. When it comes to defense, I think he will be probably a better rim protector than Sims, but like we already talked about, Sims is going to be on the outside, and he's going to be way better than Koloko at that. I don't see Koloko switching and hedging, like Mark said. I don't see him being successful in that. So if they're going to have to battle through minutes, I think it just depends on what type of center Tibbs want at the time, if that makes sense. Maybe they will keep both on the bench, and Koloko could take Taj's place, maybe.
Oh yeah, that's
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
So it'll be that. It's not like we're getting rid of Sims or Sims will be stuck in the G League. They both will be on the bench. At least they should.
Listen, if Koloko was hitting threes, okay,
he hitting them
that changes everything.
Yep.
It changes everything.
You know, with him, he covers more ground defensively than Sims.
Because he's so long.
That's the thing. He covers the floor.
Yeah.
Yeah, he covers the floor. But when you're talking about the fundamentals in guarding guards and understanding when to hedge and to get back, Sims got that. That's why I said, bro, if Mitch goes, great, because now I can just say, Sims, just go ahead. Give us what you can give us. You might not be consistent yet, but you're smart at what you're doing. Like, he don't make mistakes. He don't make dumb mistakes with him as a big. And you know, bigs kind of make mistakes. He's very mature, and he goes out there and plays big. So that's why I like Sims a lot.
Wow. Stafford, anything on Koloko you want to add? Or just that type of rim running player that could potentially hit a three?
It's funny that I've been screaming Koloko a long time ago, and one of the key points that nobody said, but Jarrell brought it up, that none of the centers don't do is hit free throws. And that's 75% right there.
Except for Mark. So for Mark Williams, that's probably the only center that hit free throws just like he does.
Right. So
bit of a clip, I should say.
So yeah, I've been watching the young man from Arizona, and him and Matherin was carrying the team I like his offensive game. He could go up, he could rebound. He's very strong. Yeah, he'll definitely bring a different dynamic to the team, especially with the free throws. Because all our centers is very poor at the free throw line. So I think he'll definitely come in and probably just beat out Sims just by a slight, just because of that one stat right there. He would get spot minutes, So I like Koloko if he was to choose him, as Mark said, probably at 39. But we got the 42nd pick, so you'll see what happens.
Yeah, he might even go to the late first round. That's the thing. He can go very
Right.
late first round if a team really wants him. Like, because he's like, one thing, he just covers ground. And when you got someone that big and with that length, and the thing is with him, he's very loud on the floor. Like, he's one of those guys where guards is going to be looking for him. He's that aware on the floor. So he could go for late first round.
Yeah, and yeah, that I think I saw, what I try to do is I try to go through as many mock drafts as I
Yeah.
can, and like every few days to see if there's been any changes. I saw one mock draft where he was late first. Most of them,
27.
most of them I've seen him like early second. So if the Knicks want him, they may have to, trade up a little bit. Would you add a second rounder to move up to get him, or just take whoever falls to you at 42?
You see, I would move up because just of like talent who I feel like I could work with and develop into a player. And the thing is, the reason why I'm going for him, because at 11, I wanted Mark Williams, but because Coco's out there, I can get him and get a guard. And they took my Johnny Davis, and they have him going early, but he could be around where the Knicks is at. So I wouldn't mind Johnny Davis, but I'm looking to move up in the first round if I could.
Well, let me throw a
To
little
get a
curveball,
center,
right?
or just another prospect?
Get a center.
Get a center, okay.
I want Koloko. That's why I would move up, because I want Koloko.
Well, quick question. Koloko and Soto both on the board. Who you draft?
If I'm staying at 42,
If they're both at the end of the first round, and you can get up and get one of them, which one you get?
That's a
Well,
tough.
I'm going for Soto. I'm looking for a home run. I'm looking for a home run.
When
I'm
you
about to say,
7 foot, when you
Got a whole lot of Koloko love on here, but I'm saying, like, they both could be on the board at the same time. I'm not picking Koloko over Soto.
But Gerald, this is my thing,
I'm not
right?
doing it because Soto could put it on the floor. He could shoot the basketball.
Footwork, all that.
Yeah,
Footwork.
you could work on his defense too.
And I don't think his size is as much of a liability as some people make it out to be.
No, but he gonna need, like I said, he's gonna need time just as Koloko.
I mean, he's 245 pounds.
Yeah.
But he ain't skinny though.
I'm thinking Soto just off his talent. He's talented. He's talented.
So let me ask y'all this. So are we getting rid of Nerlens Noel because we haven't mentioned him?
I will put a stamp on Nerlens Noel's forehead and mail him anywhere you want to.
And not just that, he's in the last year of his contract anyway. So
Yeah.
he's going to be here for long.
Stamp right on his forehead, yo.
Man, listen, I
Anywhere you
got
want
a
to go.
couple of wheelchairs. I will will him out of here because he can't stay on the floor. What's the point?
He gone.
Oh,
I mean, I would say that Soto is definitely more skilled. I think with Koloko, you know what you're going to get from the beginning. You know what you're going to get.
True.
And I think with Soto, if he pops, his ceiling is no doubt higher than Koloko. So the question is, do you want to take a more sure thing or swing, swing a small swing? I don't think it's a big swing. It's like a small swing for Soto.
Even when you watch him, right? He does things that has like higher ceiling talent for a guy with the ball in his hands. And like the way how he reads the floor and how he takes his shots, bro, he just needs time in the league if he gets drafted to the right team. I just feel like if a guy like that, if he get drafted to the right team and they utilize him correctly and give him the confidence, I think confidence, with players, you got to give them the confidence to go out there and make mistakes, but come back and not make them again. And if we could do that for him, he can be a talent. He can be
No,
a
no
talent.
doubt about it. I mean, I wonder. And I often say, if he, he signed with G League Unite, but because of obligations with the Philippine national team,
Yeah.
he didn't play for G League Ignite.
Right.
Had he played for G League Ignite, had he went to one of those colleges that he was recruited by,
Yeah, he would
his draft his
He would've went
draft
last year.
prospects right now would
Yeah, he
be
would've
much different. Yeah, no doubt about it.
because
He
he's
would've went last
left-handed,
year.
and when he puts it on the floor, he can
Yeah.
go left, right. He has counter moves. Like he's going to be one of those players that have counter moves to the big, and that's what you want in a versatile big.
Right. Yeah, he hits the three at a good clip so that you have to close out. And
You
now
have
when
to
you
guard
close
him.
out, he could
Yeah,
put the
you have to
ball on the
guard him.
floor.
You have to guard him. Like you have to
Yeah.
be there with him because he's
Look,
going to be.
You didn't even have to put Soto in the artillery.
Right. I
You
did.
copping up for
But
him.
Paris Duggar is not sold on him. Soto isn't a NBA player for 4 years. Athletic bigs would suffocate him with speed and power. I don't know
agree with
about
that
the
at all.
whole. I mean, listen. In terms of speed, yes. One of the things he's working on with his trainer or skills development coach is how to use his length defensively when he gets beat laterally. He's long enough. So even if you're a step or two behind, he's long enough to be able to recover and impact the shot with just his length. So that's what they're working on. And I don't think he's skinny. I don't see him being overpowered. He's 245 pounds.
Right.
And
He's 7'2".
Philippine dudes, they're strong. Like their base are strong. You ever listen, bro? They're strong as hell.
Yeah,
And the
man.
thing is, right? You could say that about when we drafted Porzingis. No one knew nothing about him when we drafted him. So
Right.
I think he's stronger than Porzingis right now.
And he's not. Yeah, he's stronger than him. So
yeah.
just think if he falls to the right team. If he falls to the right team and they utilize him, and I think with him, you gradually use him in spots to show what he can do in a spot minute type.
Right.
He's not someone you're going to throw out there. No, you put him in spots. If he could do certain things, you tell him to go out there and do and read. With him, I think to see how good he is how he read and reacts. That's how you could tell if he's an NBA player. How he read and reacts to the defense and how he gets his shot off.
Right.
Or 7-footer.
Right.
And everybody's saying that he's a project. You talking about second round picks or late?
Yeah,
first
he's a
round.
project. Everybody's a project in the second round.
Everybody's project at that point.
Right. But this is a project with ups. A lot of some of these in the second round. Some
Even
of them you be
Colo's
like,
a project. Colo's a project too.
yeah, exactly.
But I was just thinking about him because people don't want Mark Williams at 11 because I kind of want him, but I think he's going to the Spurs. I think he's going to the Spurs. I wanted Mark Williams because I just think that he has defensive player talent, defensive player of the year type of defense talent.
That's how I feel about Doran now.
I want Doran.
But
Okay, Derwin, he could be souped up Bam Adebayo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Souped up, like souped up.
All right,
More
if we got time at the end.
Oh,
we'll
yeah.
talk about him because he definitely moved up my big board for
You're right.
for sure. So let's move to the second player, Kofi Cockburn, a center from Illinois, 7 foot 293. Now he's more of a traditional center, a little different than Koloko. He's 22 years old. He played 3 years at Illinois, 20.9 points, 10.6 rebounds, 1 block a game, 59.3% from the field. Not a stretch three at all. 65.5% from the free throw line. I've seen him in the second round. I've seen some mocks where he's undrafted. He's not even there. So he's a physically imposing old school center who rebounds well and operates well in the post with a drop step and a hook step. He's so huge, he just traps you behind him with the drop step. He's not switchable on the perimeter. He's a good interior defender, active on the offensive ball. Like he just overpowers guys. But the face-up game is not there. He needs to get better free throw shooting. He needs to get better passing out of the post. He has 1 block per game, but I don't consider him a rim protector, like in the traditional sense. And defending on switches is going to be an issue.
Problem.
So the question I have is, again, these centers are different, but this type of center, old school, back to the basket, but effective, 20 and 10, And Illinois is playing a good conference. Is this the type of prospect? Because he would be a change of pace that
Mhm.
you would be looking for in the second round to be a backup center, or do you feel that because he's not a stretch big, he's not somebody you would even take a look at? He reminds me, would you say Andre Drummond a little bit, maybe?
That's a
I can see that.
good comp.
You can
Yeah.
say that,
I
and
can see
nobody wants Andre Drummond. So
A big Andre Drummond.
Big,
Right.
slow, that can't shoot.
But I think
But around the
he's
basket
bruising.
though,
Yeah.
I think he's a great undrafted prospect. You know what I mean? Somebody that could maybe try to fight his way and earn his way on the team.
that's
And
how
I think
feel.
there's a possibility he could, because he's that good in the paint.
right?
But bringing him along, I think it intensifies the need for a stretch big somewhere in this roster. And yeah, I don't know if I think he would work well with that second unit that we have that could surround him surround him with shooters and let him go to work in the post. But I'm worried about that free throw shooting too. So again, undrafted prospect in my opinion.
Okay, so if he went undrafted, you would take a look at him for the G League. Okay, Jarrell.
Makes sense. I can agree with Tone with that. Like, I don't see us picking him at 42. I think it'd be way too many prospects still on the board for me to pick Kofi at 42. So unless we, get another second round pick or trade down, I'm not, I wouldn't be shocked at that either. Then maybe, but to me, he's either going to be undrafted or at the end of the second.
Okay, all right. Mark and then Stafford.
He kind of remind me like Roy Hibbert. Not offensively, but just like Roy Hibbert. Like he's big, and if you use him correctly, I think that he's going to be undrafted. But I think if you're going to draft, the team's going to draft him, he can play. He can play. Not that he can't play. 20 and 10 and being 300 pounds, he understands how to score as a big man.
Right.
But he reminds me of Roy Hibbert. He could be a player, or he just might not be. But it just reminds me of Roy Hibbert.
Is that a good thing or a bad thing, Mark?
I know it ain't a bad thing.
Big and goofy?
Why I'm saying that because if you don't feed it to him on a consistent,
Right.
just when you watch, remember when Roy Hibbert was killing Miami,
Mhm.
and then game 6 they went away from him, and that's when Miami took over and won. That's what I mean. So if we don't use him, he's going to be ineffective in a way, unless his defense is like Roy Hibbert. But just the
Right.
stature, he just reminds me of Roy Hibbert if you use him correctly.
Right. But this guy is powerful. Like, you see
No,
him
he
rip
is.
a rebound, go up,
He's big.
bang it down. I mean, this is a powerful.
Yeah, but you have to make you have to make him part of the team where he gets touches to impose his will, because he's going to impose his will. 300 pounds, and he don't look like a fat 300. He's a stocky young man.
Right.
Yeah, he's a bruiser. That's what it is.
So
He's
if
a
you
bruiser.
don't
Yeah.
utilize him, if you don't utilize him as a bruiser, then what's the point? That's what I mean.
Yeah, he
I
would
agree with
definitely need a
everything.
change of pace. I'm sorry, Stafford. Go ahead.
All right.
No,
No,
I
I
was just
agree
gonna say
with
he would be a change of pace center. He would be different from whoever.
Yeah,
was
he'll be
starting.
different. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with what Mark say, man. You got to utilize him because he is a bruiser. He will.
When you talk,
You know what I mean? He will give you that elbow, that shoulder. You know what I mean? Because he's a big boy. I seen him play in the tournament. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I wouldn't pick him at the 42nd pick, because he doesn't have an overall skill. Just that back to the basket, bruising, tight rebounder, go back up, put in your face. You know what I mean? That type of player. But
always let them know you got
but I like him still, but not for the Knicks.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, he has a little hook shot too.
Always let them know you got
If you get caught behind him though,
It's over.
it's just over.
Move.
But you know what he does? He nudges you. He understands deep position.
Never let a nigga
But he's
double
gonna
cross
be there every
you.
time.
Always let them know you got
You watch him when Illinois used to get him the ball. He's right underneath the basket, and it's like over, lights out.
Right.
But if you don't utilize him, then it's just like, what's the point of having him?
No, but you see, the only thing about it, Mark, that with that is that we're gonna have two guys on the block, Randall and him. So
There you go.
who we gonna put the ball into on the block? You know what I mean? So
I
that's
don't
the
see
only
him
one.
playing with Randall though. I see him more as like a second team. I don't know if they would be together.
He could come in and spot minutes also too on a first team. You know what I mean? So I'm just saying hypothetically.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Randall would be more perimeter oriented if he's sharing the court with Kofi.
I ain't gonna hold you, Queen. Julius Randle makes this draft so hard for us in so many ways. He really does.
Why do you say that?
He makes the team hard.
Yeah,
period.
because when you have a player that is like ball usage like that, and you're trying to bring in talent, right? It's going to predicate on what he does and how he utilizes teammates.
I think that has to change, Mark.
I know, but it ain't, because one, Tiz can't hold him accountable.
Right.
Yeah. But that's something
Until
we can say that for the end too if we have enough time.
I'm just saying, it's so
but you're
hard.
right.
It's so hard.
Yeah. If he's in that same role, yeah.
It's
Right.
hard.
Yeah, definitely, no doubt about it. All right, let's move on to John Butler now. When I say these centers are really different from each other, they are really different from each other. John Butler is a power forward center out of Florida State, 7 foot, 174 pounds, 19 years old, 5.9 points, 3.2 rebounds, 1.3 blocks, 41.6% from the field, 39.3% from three. And this is the intrigue with this guy. Only 44% from the free throw line. Second round to undrafted, though I've seen him in a lot of mocks in the second round. He's a very good spot up shooter. He's almost like a 7-foot shooting guard. When his feet is set and you're driving in the key and you kick it out to him, he's very good as a spot up shooter. He has the rim protection in terms of blocking shots, especially on the weak side, like coming from the weak side and defending on the perimeter. His feet is good. So he can switch out on the perimeter similar to Sims and guard smaller guys on the perimeter. And that's the intrigue with him. Improvement areas is weight, shooting on the move, finishing at the rim. Now, he will take a few dribbles in the key for his pull-up. He needs to get better with that. And he will go to the rim. But because of his frame, he has a very difficult time finishing through contact. So this is like a 3-and-D center prospect, like a little different than what we're used to. Is he somebody you would consider drafting in the second round at the 42nd pick, or even if he went undrafted and bringing him in? What's your thoughts on this type of player for the Knicks? Tony, we'll start with you. Jarrell, let's mix it up. Let's start with Stafford.
Let me see. 174 pounds.
He's 10.
Ooh,
you see the picture?
Yeah.
See that arm?
Yeah, but and then finishing at the rim, giving his frame. Yo, people will pound him out at the on the block. Yeah, so he definitely need to get his weight up.
This is
But
genius.
but you saying that he could shoot 3 from 39% from the line?
39%.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Very agile, defending on the perimeter. So I guess he could move around and defend wings also too.
Absolutely, yeah.
I would say it's a project. I wouldn't draft him. I'll probably, get him undrafted and stash him in the G League, let him work on a couple of things, especially he definitely got to get his weight up. So, I see him as a project. I'm not drafting him, but I'll stash him in the G League for a year or two and probably bring him up to see what he have later on.
So with the G League, you get 2 spots, right, for 2-way contracts. So would he be one of those guys you would give a two-way contract, or you would just have him come in and just have a spot, which means he would be open to other teams?
Queen,
I wouldn't give him a two-way contract. Only the reasons because we have 2 or 3 centers on the roster already.
Okay.
And by him just being in the G League, and if anybody get injured, just to bring him up, yeah, that would be my idea. But I wouldn't give him a two-way contract, no.
Okay. Mark?
hard pass for me. Not even looking at him. I don't know where you found him, Queen. I'm sorry. Bro, Stephen Curry weighed more than him coming out draft. Jesus Christ. Hard pass for me, Queen. I'm sorry. I'm going to be honest to you. Not even on my radar. 44 for free throw. No, I think he's going to be in the G League until he bulk up. Until he would have to make some legitimate noise in the G League. Like, you know what? A team has to be really, really high on him to even look at him, draft him with a two-way contract, and throw him in the G League. I think he needs to go back to college.
But teams are looking at him.
No,
teams are looking at him because of he's almost like a unicorn.
I'm gonna say this. He has similarities to Brandon Clark, right? When you talk about mobile, skinny, move around. But this is a hard pass for me. Like,
who is the big who played for Chicago? Bender.
Jonathan
Bender.
No.
Bender is a way better player than
Yeah,
No.
he is.
Before
But I'm just
he
thinking about somebody that's really
for
tall that
Phoenix?
can hit the three.
No, he played for Indiana. He had all-star talent.
Indiana.
Oh, yes, Indiana. But I think he got traded to Phoenix, too. Or is it his brother?
American, like,
Yeah, because he got hurt, but he had all-star type
okay.
talent.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No.
All right, Jarrell, and then Tony.
I actually seen Butler play a couple times. He's not on my radar at all. I would not pick him. He's like, when I saw him, he didn't impress me at all.
Sayonara.
When I saw him play a couple games because he's in the ACC, and I'm a Tar Heel fan, so he was not a factor at all. At all.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I seen him play as well. I mean, there's things that, again, undrafted prospect, I wouldn't mind. I think the fact that he's only 19 is great. I think he has the potential to, like, at a ceiling, maybe a Christian Wood. Now he's gonna have to bulk up, obviously. I actually was gonna mention Jonathan Bender as well, but I'm talking like rookie year Bender. And there was another, because he came out of high school, right, Bender?
Jonathan Bender just was so talented.
There was another kid.
He's talented too, though. Just because he's thin doesn't mean he isn't.
Not like Jonathan Bender, sweetheart. Please.
There was another kid that came out of high school in that same year as Bender.
Darius Rice?
Was it Rice?
Did they both?
No, I think it was another light-skinned kid. But again, I think he could come in and actually play the 2 guard at 7 foot, as opposed to coming in and playing the center. And that being said, I'm not talking about for the big squad. I'm saying for the G League, and kind of fill a role in that aspect as a 7 foot 3-and-D guardish small forward type guy. And I think that'll give him some light, as opposed to trying to bang with the centers in even the G League. I don't think he's ready for that at this point.
For him, I will go back to school, bro. Sorry.
How you shoot 44% from the free throw line?
and 39 from 3.
Hold up. Mitchell ain't that far.
I know, right?
And 39 from 3.
But that's not compared to what he shoots for the 3. That's nuts.
Right. Yeah, definitely.
He definitely need to put some weight on, man. They will kill him.
Queen, you dug this one out the crate.
He might.
You dug this one out the crate.
He is a second round draft prospect. When you look at the mock draft,
He might get picked, but he's not going to see the NBA floor.
You know when you're playing 21 and you got to end the game and you got to shoot from the top of the 3-point line, he might as well shoot his free throws from the top of the 3-point line. Like, I'm gonna just move back and shoot my free throws.
Yeah, that free throw line. That's 44% for the free throw line. When you're a 40% 3-point shooter, is crazy.
Yeah.
And the thing with him, it's like his floor is like he could be bad. Like his floor could be bad.
Getting a regular job.
Yeah, like there's nothing like where it's like you see like improvement to an extent for him to be like a third string NBA big. No.
Listen, he shoots 39% off the catch and shoot.
Listen,
he's a rim protector.
He ain't even on Tankathon, I don't think.
No, he is.
His size alone is a disqualifier for his
what?
Size. His size alone is going to disqualify him for his position.
Right, but you could play him at power forward though,
or the small forward as a 3 and D guy.
That's 7 foot 20.
Yes, if you can guard a small forward and a 2 guard, then why not?
I'd rather bring back Alec Burke than picking him up. Okay.
I mean, we're not talking about rotation right now. I don't know what that one.
No, what I mean is that he's that bad that I'm willing to take back Alec Burke because I'm okay.
Well, how can you say he's that bad just by looking at his frame?
And we're talking. I mean, I'm talking about G League prospect. You saying he's not good? He's not good enough for a G League prospect?
No.
But Mark, have you studied him at all?
Not as much, but just the games that I watched from him, he's not doing nothing. He's just not. Right. He's not.
Yeah,
no, I agree with you. I mean, he's
not going to
one of them.
Yeah, he's undrafted. Maybe he needs to go back to school. Personally, go back to school. 2 rebounds, 7-footer. Okay.
Yeah, you should go back to school.
Yeah, like the thing is too.
I wouldn't say necessarily go back to school, man. Just go in the weight room. That's all that is. He could go in the weight room and put on a little weight, like Christian Wood.
Yeah, but
he'll probably maybe something.
Yeah, he could work on his game at school. Get his stock up. He can get his stock up. If he's getting looked at now, right? He goes back to school. There's a chance he's still getting looked at. If he get looked now, there's a chance that if he go back to school and get better, there's a chance he'll still get looked at. Just because of his size and his movement. He has great movement.
And his shooting.
Yeah, he has great movement. But you know what I like about his shot? It's not a wind-up shot, but
it's ugly.
It's slow. Like it's slow.
Right. So mostly when you see him, it's off the driving kick. With
He
has space to knock it down.
His game is transition, and we don't run. It's hard for Obi to even get the ball when he's running. So it's just like drafting him for what? Looking at him for what? You dug this one out the crate, Queen. I ain't gonna hold you because I didn't even think of him one bit.
He was on the list of centers.
Well,
if you go to NBA draft,
shouldn't be on that list.
The draft profile, he's there. All right. Let's move on to the next prospect, Jalen Williams, power forward center out of Arkansas, 6'10", 237 pounds, 19 years old, 10.9 points, almost 10 rebounds, 2.6 assists, one block, 1.3 steals. And we'll talk about this in terms of, what he does defensively. 47.8% from the field, 23.9% from 3-point. So not a good 3-point shooter. I'm just impressed that he's taking them. And 72.9% from the free throw line. Draft projection, I've seen him mid-second round. He has a really, really good feel from the game. His passing and court vision. He can facilitate the offense from the post. I mean, I don't think, when I think about Draymond, I think about Joakim Noah. I mean, teams don't really do that anymore, but he has that type of feel for the game. He's also a very heady defender. He's not like super quick, but he's able to
position in.
right, his positioning and his defensive IQ gives him the edge in terms of rotating quickly, draws a lot of charges. Actually, a very good rebounder as well. He needs to improve offensively, his face-up game, his three-point shooting, his overall offense. But I really like Jalen Williams. The only thing I would say is if he projects as a backup, would he be in that role? I mean, I think defensively, he's good no matter what. But offensively, that running the offense through him, I don't think he would get that opportunity
No.
as a second string. He's going to be playing off of people.
But
Right.
but I think he can make opportunities. So he's a guy that could kind of make plays out of nothing. You know what I mean? Just because of his basketball IQ. I'm really high on this guy.
I like that. Yeah.
I think at 42 he's a steal. I don't know if he makes it to 42.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if he'd be a steal. I think he'll be there for you too. But I don't think he's definitely going to be drafted. He's not like the Butler.
Right.
Give me both. Give me both Jalen Williams.
He's the right player for the right team that plays a high basketball IQ with cutters, runners,
Right.
and shooters. Other than that, for us, no, because we don't identify as that type of team. He's very good in the high post. He can make DHO plays, his screen as well, his footwork, positioning, his IQ defensively. He's really good. He's really, really good. But right team for him. He needs to go to a team for the right team.
But I think defensively he would help us though.
He would, but if you want him to succeed, he would need a team that has elite guys that cut and move the ball. This is a guy that moves the ball to create opportunities. If we're a standstill team, he's not gonna flourish. He's just not, because if you look at his college team, them guards was moving, cutting, and he was making those passes. Just like how you see Draymond make those little DHO passes to Steph when he cutting down, he can make those passes. He got to be on the right team for him to be good, like to actually be an NBA player.
But I'm thinking, okay, we established that he's a good defensive team, a good defensive player. But on offense, even if you're not running the offense through him, if he gets the ball off an offensive rebound, he'll be able to spot an open player. It's just basketball. When you see somebody standing there with the ball, you cut. I mean, that's just basketball.
We don't cut at a high level that he's used to. That team he played for cut. They ran, like the way they played, he understood everything. We don't run it consistently.
I beg to differ. I think
he's a young player. He's a young player. Like if I'd have put him in Golden State and have him come off the bench, he's able to do those things because they run it consistently. We don't do that.
I agree with you. I think, but that's what I mean. I think we just don't cut. I don't think it's. But to Queen's credit, I think if the play's there and you have a playmaker, you will cut. If you know cutting is going to get you the ball, you're going to cut.
But okay. Quickly don't cut. If you're talking about the bench, because he's gonna come off the bench. If he was to,
you know who would bode well playing alongside him? Cam Reddish.
Yeah, Cam cuts.
Yeah, he cuts, but we just don't do it at a.
Yeah, we don't do it at
a rate that he's used to. When you watch him, he's looking for his guys to make the necessary play so he can make a play for him. I don't think he's going to be able to show that right away how he does it in college. So I think he's got to go to a team that runs it consistently for him to be to show his talent, because he's good.
But let me ask you this: even if you're not running the offense through him, you don't do you. So you're saying that that's the only way he can be a really good draftable prospect is if you're running the offense through him. Right. You don't think his defense and just his high IQ on offense, just his passing ability on offense, is good enough to be drafted? Or you're saying if you're not taking advantage of all of his skill set, don't ball?
You got to take advantage of all his skill sets, just like with Draymond. If you don't take advantage of all his skill set, then it's just like whatever. You want to be able to take advantage of all his skill set. A player like that, you want it because he has it. So why wouldn't you want to take advantage of it? It's there. So if we're not a team that does it consistently, where he, as a young player, where he understands to do it, where he can come in and do it, I would take him. But we don't do that. So if I could see him on Denver, if he was to play for Denver, if he was to play for, even with Sacramento, if he was playing with Sacramento, we're just not a team that does that. And it's okay. We're just a different type of team.
But I wonder if we don't do it just because of the personnel. Because
that's a problem.
Right.
But he's a different, because remember, Tibbs did that with Joakim Noah. Now, granted, part of it was because Derrick Rose was injured, so he had to look for a different way to facilitate
but the thing was too,
offense.
Noah was doing that in college also. Like, he was doing all that in college. So it's just like, and he had the shooters, he had the guys that knew how to play, and that Tibbs Bulls team, that was a heavy cut team.
But the point I'm saying is that Tibbs was the coach, so Tibbs would know how to use a player like that.
Right.
That's understandable. But with this team and how we've been looked, it's just like this. They don't even run pick and rolls with Obi, and I think he's excellent in that, because in college, Obi ran a lot of pick and rolls and was able to play make out of that. That's why I look at him so highly as I do, because he has other records with talent, but we don't utilize him as we should. He's better than what he tries. When he goes out on the floor, he does what is available for him at the moment. And that's what makes him so intriguing, because if you got him into a system to utilize him in a pick and roll where he runs those quick slips and he makes those little quick passes, it's all about the guys around you. We just don't move the ball enough for guys like that to excel, because he would excel if we ran the ball and moved quicker. That's it.
Yeah, like his playmaking to me is intriguing.
Mark is like, I got all these side points that from watching the shows that I didn't really get a chance to talk about. So I'm gonna slip them in. I got my Obi takes. Let me slip that in here.
Yeah, man,
I got my Randall take. Let me slip that in here.
I'm telling you, Obi gives me joy just like I watch Steph Curry at night, man. He just does little things that don't show up in the box scores. And I just like a guy that comes off the bench that does that. And, he can be an asset to us. It's just how we use these guys. And if you're going to draft a high IQ skilled player like that, he got to be able to come into a system that allows him to be that good. That's just simple.
To me,
he trying to make up for panel hours. I see. What
Right. We got something new going on, right?
I was going to say, like, in terms of like a big man playmaking, like, I don't know, that skill set for him is intriguing, but if like Travion Williams from Purdue, I think is better at that. So if he's on the board, I'm picking Travion Williams over him. Like
Travion Williams measured 6'8" though.
So
he's Draymond.
Yeah, like that doesn't matter to me.
He's Draymond.
He's a better player than Jalen Williams is.
He's a baller.
But he's not a center.
He's a baller.
That is true.
No,
but I hear you though.
He plays center in college. It would be small ball. Like he's not going to be your everyday center. You're absolutely right about that.
Right. Okay.
But he can be a small ball center though.
Oh, he's tough.
Yeah, his skill level is definitely
he's tough.
High skill level.
He makes those.
No doubt about it.
But I wouldn't be mad at either though. I wouldn't be mad at either.
But I think the same thing would happen with Williams. With Travion Williams, would they use that skill set that he has?
They have no choice but to use that with him.
Yeah,
that's his.
Yeah, because even with his lack of height, his defensive IQ is top notch.
It's phenomenal.
Like he's better all around player to me.
Yeah, that's one of my guys in my mock. In one of my mocks. Oh, I love that dude, bro. But it's all about fit. If he gets
that's the point I'm trying to make. They have similar game, but do you think that they would use his skill set, or do you think because it's like you said, it would be a waste?
Because
and that's what kills me about this team. Because there's some guys, but it's just our roster. It's our roster.
See, I think that we would use it though. I think, maybe part of how we're playing is you're looking at how most of the players on this team play. So if we have to play a certain way to unlock Obi, but most of our other guys on the team play this way. So it's best for the team to play this way.
Yeah, but we don't even use Obi the way how he was used in college and where he
I
flourished.
understand, but
I
that's
know
the
one
point
thing.
I'm trying. That's the point I'm trying to make. Can
Obi
you?
and Tavion Williams would be nice though.
He would be so perfect.
That'd be nice.
because of the- I love IQ players. I love guys that just understands the floor. But because we have someone in that same spot, he just ruins a lot.
I just this and Randall does not handle the ball as much as he used to. He still does. He doesn't handle the ball as much as he used to. RJ has some playmaking responsibilities as well. Burks has some playmaking responsibilities as well. So I don't think it's just Randall is hogging the ball
It's not
the
that.
way it
It's
was the year he
when
was.
he
an
doesn't
all-star.
have the ball, he does nothing else. Now, if he
But that doesn't stop.
no, but
But
if you
you're
have a guy, okay, if you have like a guy like a Travian, and you want to utilize the skill set, if Randall does not cut, he has the ability to cut. What's the point of drafting a guy like that?
But they wouldn't
Nah,
even
I
be in
see
the
what you
game
mean.
at the same
They
time.
wouldn't be in the game at the same time though.
Okay, understandably, but we just don't run those type. We just don't.
Yeah, I do see what Mark's saying though.
We don't.
Like, we won't
we don't.
utilize
Oh,
him
number
the way
one,
you should.
Tibbs run a read and react system, and we don't do that well. We don't.
Okay.
Yeah,
But if you get higher IQ players,
Understandably. Understandably.
need a
that's what you
higher IQ
need
coach.
for a read and react.
Okay.
Option.
If Travion was on this team, I think he has the best IQ on the team if he was to play for us. The rest is squeezing out of them, and I don't trust them like that. I don't trust them like that. Sorry. And Obi has IQ to an extent. He's a very high IQ player. But
Okay.
it's just this roster we have, it just ruins it because we got a lot of ball hoggers, and we got a lot of guys that don't pass the ball as quickly as enough. When you got Travion Williams, that ball got to move to an extent for him to look good. Because he's good. I would love him on Golden State just to watch him over there because he would be
Please
excellent.
don't say he's going to go to state, Mark.
He would be excellent. And
Please don't say
because they do play. Yeah, they do play. Small
Please
ball. But I
do
think
not let him
Jalen
go to
Williams would be
Golden State.
good for them as well.
I don't want him going to Golden State either.
he
No.
would be a terror. He would be
I
a
don't want
terror.
either one of them Williams boys to go to Golden State. No.
He would be a terror. And watch Golden
All
State
right.
just do some smart. I like
Yep.
smart players, man.
Might mess around and
All
get both out.
Yeah. Because I would take him at 27.
And anything else since we went from Jalen to Travion?
I'm
Anything
sorry, I
else
didn't mean
on Jalen Williams before we move on to the last prospect?
I wouldn't be mad at him, but yeah, I like his playmaking. And
I love
he does have
playmaking.
defensive properties that I like too. But yeah,
His defensive instincts and his ability to take a
He's
charge. That's why I
good, yeah.
still think that we could still use him.
yeah,
No, we could use him, but is it going to be at a level where
But
he's
for a
gonna
second
play?
round pick for the small role that he has, I mean, he comes in, he plays good defense, he takes charges, he mans the defensive side of the ball for us, like the defensive quarterback, so to speak. I think that's enough value
think
for a second round pick.
I think the way both players will be in the G League though.
Yeah, it will be in the G League. And you know how long it takes Tibbs to play these new guys? So it's like, what do you
Right.
see the
I
floor?
don't think neither one of them will be on the roster.
Okay, but they're second round picks, so it's okay
Yeah.
for them to go to
Yeah,
the
that's
G
true.
League, though.
I agree with that.
Okay. Anything else anybody want to say on Jalen before we move on to the last?
No, he'll be a good pick, and it's just like it's all about fit for him and where he feel where.
Okay. So you like him? The issue is just the fit.
It's just the fit, man. It really is because I'm looking at players who could fit with this team because Randall's here for the foreseeable future, and it all surrounds
You
around him.
can't just be. I just. Do you think that's a little overblown though, in terms of the prospects
Queen,
that we bring in
no,
and stuff like that?
Queen, it matters because he has a usage where if he does not get the ball, he become a useless player on the floor, meaning that he's nowhere to be found, and it shows. He doesn't do the little stuff that is necessary to help the team win. That's been my doubt about him.
That's two separate things, though. You're saying that because of his usage rate, we shouldn't bring in nobody because he's gonna just hold.
Exactly.
The ball. I think that's
And
part of
another thing, are you basing it off of last season? Are you basing it off of last season, or are you basing it on all his career his whole career? Are you basing it on last season or his whole
If
career?
I'm bringing in a player, right? I'm bringing in a player that can suit my roster. Because if he doesn't suit my roster, how is he going to play his game? That's the thing. That's why I can.
Maybe he just changes the dynamic of the team.
That's the problem. Randall is the problem because he changed. Listen, if he was a great screener, if he played more downhill, if he just understood that I don't have to take 20 shots to play the game.
Mark, I hear you, but I'm just saying we can't be like we're not bringing this guy in because he can't play with Randall.
Well, I'm
not bringing this guy in because he can't play with Randall.
It is a problem because he's not. When we talk about him passing, it's not as good as people think it is.
We get it. So who do you think we? So we shouldn't bring in nobody because they're not going to be able to play with Randall.
You bringing in players that you can surround him with that can fit Randall's
that can catch knuckleballs and
he does not give it one passing. It's horrible. That's why them shooters.
I agree with Mark, but I do agree with Steph. Like you got to bring somebody in, but
come on,
Mark does have a point.
But when I wasn't talking about Randall changing the dynamic. I was talking about the draft pick changing the dynamic.
No, because he won't have that leeway to do it.
He wouldn't be able to.
Have the freedom.
What do you mean? He's barely going to play with Randall. We established that already.
Right.
So it's bringing an aspect to the game that fits the second unit, that fits the guys in the second unit.
So again,
I play a little faster than our first unit anyway. They have a different identity.
Okay,
so.
I understand what you're saying, but when I see guys talented like this, like talented like with that type of floor with the IQ and stuff like that, I just think listen, I just don't think he's gonna. It makes. I don't know.
I like him. I think he brings it.
I'm not saying I don't like him, but it's all about fit at the end of the day. At the end of the day, because you could bring in a player and he don't fit here, and then we go somewhere else, he fits there better. And because
that happens all the time. But Mark, we're talking about a second rounder on as a backup center. He's not going to even probably play with Randall. I think he'll be fine with the Knicks draft.
I would take. I'm not saying I wouldn't take him, but I would just be like, I'm going to want to see him play because he does have IQ and he does play the game very well. And I want it to be utilized. And if he's on the floor as a center, and if he can play with Randall, like he has the ability to play on the floor with Randall. And if Randall's our best player and he cannot play with Randall, what's the point? Because he has the talent to be dynamic on the floor. That's what I'm saying.
He does, but what I'm saying is we could still benefit from him in that second unit.
Okay.
In that second unit. Randall is not going to be playing with him. He's getting, if he plays at all, we're talking about 10 minutes, 15 minutes.
Okay, I understand, but I would take him. I'm not saying I wouldn't. I would take him.
Yeah, I'm with that.
So let's get to the last guy, and then we'll open it up, Mark. You know.
Sorry.
Get his bars off now.
Okay. Wrapping up your panel out.
Bars off, man.
When you have this one little pothole in your roll, it messes up for everybody, man. Jesus Christ.
You can't flow on the roll like you want to, you know what I mean? You can't even flush it.
He called Randall a pothole.
A pothole in the...
Hey, yo, man.
You can't flush it like you want to in the pothole there, yo.
I want to like him so much, but it's just not there for me, bro. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
But Mark, let's not act like you never really liked him anyway.
I don't like him because I don't like his style. I don't like his style.
So hold on though. If Randall is a pothole, right? Is Tibbs like just a speed bump? Like what we talking about when it comes to Tibbs?
You see, the thing is, with the year Randall had, it put that team in such a situation that Tibbs is gonna ride with his guys no matter what. He's been like that since he started coaching.
That's true.
He's going to ride with his guys no matter what. And if you're going to ride with a guy, he was able to ride with guys who he has the brain trust on the floor. That's why it looked good. But now that you have a guy that you can't trust on the floor, it makes Tibbs look bad because he's not gonna come at Randall to make the situation even worse.
But Mark, the question I want to ask you, right, are you basing it on his season last year, or are you basing it on his whole career with the Knicks and New Orleans?
And his playing style. His playing
Okay.
style is what's my problem. Because
Okay, all right, Mark.
Yeah.
Let's do this last guy,
Go ahead.
and then we will open it. We'll open the
ahead.
panel.
I don't want to talk about him because he's depressing.
The
This
barbecue
Travis really
edition,
good.
where after after the party or whatever, the baby shower, then it just turns into something else, right? All right. Let's get to this last guy. Orlando Robinson, center out of Fresno State, 6'11", 245 pounds, 21 years old, averaged 19.4 points, 8.4 rebounds, 1.2 blocks, shot 48.4% from the field, 35.2% from three, 71.6% free throw shooter, second round projected. In terms of his strength, he is a reliable three-point shooter. He can also face up. If you see him, he'll put the ball on the floor, take a few dribbles, and pull up. He has a excellent feel for the game, excellent passer, 2.8 assists as well, and he has a low post arsenal. This guy, solid rebounder, high motor, average athleticism. So when I watched him play, I thought his athleticism was pretty good. His feet does seem a little heavy, so he reminds me of, who was we talking about earlier from Indiana? Hibbert. He reminds me of Hibbert a little bit when he's running up the court. So lateral quickness is a concern. He averaged 1.2 blocks. I don't really see him as a rim protector. And then there's concerns about his level of competition. I think he played, I want to say, the Mountain something conference. But
Mountain West.
Yeah.
What do you have projected? What pick?
Late.
Yeah,
he's a
late second round. But when you watch him, play on the offensive end, it's impressive. It's impressive. But will he be able to do that against NBA speed and things of that
and the
sort?
thing is, when NBA players is looking at big man, they want to look at how you hold it defensively first, especially as a big man. That gets you in the door first over your offense with bigs, especially second round bigs and stuff like that. If he could do the basics of the defense, he has a chance. But I think he's going to be. I think he could be undrafted too, and go to the G League. He's a G League player.
Right.
He could be a G League player.
To me, I think he's another G League player too.
G League.
And plus, I think you got to think of his levels of improvement. Like Tibbs ain't. I don't see Tibbs drafting him. To be honest, I just don't see him being good on this team.
Nope.
Like, I don't want to get into fit just like Mark did with the last dude. But I just don't see it.
I think offensively he brings something we don't have. Somebody that can hit the three. Somebody that has an arsenal of moves in the post. Somebody who can face up and shoot. Somebody who has a good feel for the game. He averaged 2.8 assists, so he can pass the ball. He's a skilled big guy. Now defensively, I don't see him. His feet just seem a little heavy to me in terms of defending.
He's flat-footed.
Right, something.
Flat-footed.
So if he's not a good rim protector, he's not going to be good on the switch or hedge or anything like that. So I just don't see Tim's giving him any minutes at all. I don't see it.
He's going to go with Sims before he even look at him, and Sims can move. He's looking with Tibbs. He's looking for a center that could just move. Like if you can't move,
he still play ties over him to me.
I'm talking about putting him into our system. I think we need some guys that can with some offensive versatility.
You know what's going to happen?
That can shoot the three. That has some moves. In the post.
They're going to look for a center before they play him. Before anything, I think Tibbs is going to look for a comparable, center before they even look to draft.
He is a center.
No, they're going to look for someone
like a veteran.
more experienced. They're going to look. Tibbs is in business to look to him.
Mark. Oh, shit. With the 42nd pick in the NBA draft.
But he's not going to be able to. He's not going to play. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, but it's a second round pick. Most of these guys in the second round may not be able to play. So the question is this type of center? So he's probably the most offensively polished of the guys that we've talked about today. So are you okay with drafting a center who can score on pretty much all three levels, decent rebounder, decent shot blocker, but he's not that defensive demon that a Koloko is. But on the offense, so it's a little trade off. You're going to get a lot of
I need someone to
offensive
command the paint.
versatility.
I need someone to command the paint.
All
I
right.
need some-
Other than Mark, let's go around. Tony, your
I'm
thoughts?
I'm high on I'm high on him too. I think, like I said, it brings a different dynamic. He don't got to start. He don't got to be, immediate in the rotation. But when he gets an opportunity, it's going to be a different look, something that we haven't
Totally
seen.
different.
And that, I think that changes the full spectrum of what the team can do. Because now we have somebody that can fit in and fill a role that we haven't had. So I like him, especially second round. You know what I mean? I don't think it's even if he doesn't play immediately or play 35 minutes. You know what I mean? Like you said, 10 minutes a game here and there. Get your feet wet in the G League. Really show off there. I don't have a problem with him.
Okay. Stafford, and then we'll get to Jarrell.
I'm not too familiar with him, but as what not Mark, but TC said, probably, when he gives him his opportunities, he'll probably shine, put him in the G League, stash him away where he could go on and work on his game. I gotta study him a little more for me to get a really good opinion on him. But I'm going with TC said.
Okay. All right, Jarrell.
I like him. If your question is the type of center, yeah, I wouldn't mind us drafting a type of center, but him in particular, I think just like before, it just depends on who else is on the board at 42, because we have not an early second round pick, but it's pretty high. Like it's basically the lottery of this. Yeah, it's before the mid though.
Yeah,
It's 42.
it starts at 31, and we got 42.
That's what I'm saying. Like, so that's an early second round pick. So I think it's going to be a lot of prospects on the board that I would pick over him. But would I be upset if we did draft him? No, I wouldn't be upset.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, like I said, I wouldn't be upset. Whoever you get at 42 is whatever. It's like whatever. Like when you project on the play, like when you're telling me these players and who are it's a little different when how I'm looking at it.
Right.
That's all.
Yeah. Sports Illustrated have him at 51. So he's a
Okay.
and when you go to different ones,
he can go
he could go late
Undrafted too.
second to
he can go undrafted
undrafted.
too.
Would you bring him? Would you sign him? I would sign him to a team.
I would sign him.
If he went
Listen,
undrafted, I would
If he's
definitely.
undrafted, I'll sign him to see what he's about. Yeah, to see if he could play on this level. That's the good thing about being undrafted too. You get him for dirt cheap. Let him play it out, see if he can play, and it bodes well. But Jesus,
And the Knicks are big.
Go ahead.
The Knicks are big on signing these guys to contracts and then waiving them, so they got a little chunk of money. You know what I mean? And then keeping them on the G League and kind of keeping tabs on them. So I think that's definitely a option.
But let me ask you a question, Queen. You think we're going to stay at 42? Because I don't think we're going to stay at 42.
It's hard for me to. I
hope we don't.
Yeah, we might trade down. I think it's. I would put my money on them trading down more so than I would them trading up. With 40 with.
I almost agree with that too.
You
just
think
because of how the roster is.
And that's how Brock Allah operates.
Yeah, that too. You think we're going to trade down trade up in the lottery this year? Because people saying that the Knicks is so intrigued to trade up to fourth.
I really don't think so, to be honest.
I think they do. They do diligent.
Yeah, I don't.
But if we do, we're gonna have to give up a good farm, a whole set of players, man. Just so
we got it though.
I'm about to say, depending on who we getting, I wouldn't care.
Yeah, I wouldn't care.
Send them.
You know what's so crazy? If we're gonna move up to get Jaden Ivey, I'm saying you do it and we just roll with him. We just roll with him because he has a talent where you could just be like, okay, we give you a couple of years because you could roll with him. Whatever you got to do, we have to make a play that's going to just help us.
But is that play in the draft or is that play in free agency? Is that play
you see this
via trade? Because I think if you trade for Ivy, you might as well just get off of Randall.
I think at 11,
I think it's
we can
just,
I
yeah,
don't
I
think we
think
have
the
to move up
timeline
to get
is
someone that's decent enough to do the things that we can do. Me, personally, if I'm looking at a player and I could draft him today without blinking, is Jalen Williams from Santa Clara. That's who I would like for this team.
Talk to him.
I don't care what nobody says.
well,
Nice.
not at. I don't think I would trade him. I would get him at 11. But we're gonna do point guards
Okay.
next week. Only because the concerns.
He's a point guard.
Yeah, he's a
He ain't no point guard.
he's a combo. He's a shooting guard that can give you
Right.
some minutes at the point. But the issue with him is his speed, his separation, and things of that sort. But he's crafty enough with the ball, though. So I think he would.
You know who you remind me of? James Harden when he played in college.
How about
That's who you
he's
remind me of.
actually my comp for him too, to be honest. The
That's
way he
who
played
you
in
remind me
college,
of.
yeah.
I swear to God,
He does play like
he
it.
might not look at it, but his ceiling is high because one thing I like about him, he keeps his dribble. And the passes he makes, again, he can create at a consistent level.
He kind of reminds me of Karis LeVert.
You know what's his best attribute?
I
He can
can see
play
that
without the ball. He can play without the
Right.
ball.
And
Yeah.
he's really he could be a little faster and quicker or whatever, but he's
Yes.
really sneaky athletic too. Like
Yes.
he has one of the best verticals in the combine. Like he can jump.
He is
He can play.
exceptional.
All right, so we'll talk about.
You guys got me all tingling inside.
I didn't know you liked him that much.
We'll
Yeah,
do
he
point
can-
guards
You want a
and
complete player?
sleepers.
He will be the one. The complete player, I think he would be the one that looked.
He's nice. I like him. Like if we draft him at 11 though,
Nah,
that's what I'm saying. Like seem like we should be
I
able to
wouldn't.
trade down and get him.
right.
He's going. He's going between 18 and 22. But I'm telling you right now, I think he can fall around top 50. To me, he's a lottery.
And you're
pick.
not concerned about his foot speed. You're not concerned about
No,
his
because
separation.
he
You're not
knows how
concerned
to.
about any of that.
No, he reminds me of James Harden. You give him the ball, and he's gonna work.
Yeah, he got a little handle too. He can rock somebody to sleep. I like him. But there's a couple.
Yeah, I like him too.
His ball handling and his time.
Right.
He reminds me of James Harden coming out of college.
All right.
Big
So
time.
next week when we do point guard, now he wouldn't be. We're gonna do second round point guards. He's not gonna be around in the second round. But we'll add in a sleeper section for you, Mark. We'll add in a sleeper
Please.
section and we'll talk.
Because bro, it's so crazy that he's not a lottery pick compared to the guys that aren't a lottery pick. It's nuts to me. Because a lot of people didn't have James Harden going 3. Presley took him. But the talent is there and the understanding of the game and what he will bring to our team.
He might move up though, because listen, sometimes the mock drafts are behind the draft boards. You know,
You
I'm
think
sure
he's
they
better
have
than
one.
Johnny Davis?
I'm not that high on Johnny
Davis reminds me of Norris Powell. He reminds me of Norris Powell.
Yeah,
Norman Powell.
Norman
Powell.
Yeah, he reminds me of that. Like, I hear people talking about like star ceiling.
I don't see that. See, that's the
I don't see the star.
I don't see the ceiling.
Not in
He's an
Davis.
NBA ready player though.
Mhm.
He's an NBA ready. He has a high floor. I don't see the high ceiling though.
He can defend. And the thing he said, which was smart, and you gotta give him leeway. I think his shooting is better than what it looked in college because the coverage that he was getting,
right, no doubt,
he couldn't adjust at the time. So I think he's a better shooter than what it perceives to be. But that Jalen Williams kid, I talk about complete player, man, and just someone who I feel like could bring more to the table for us compared to the guy that's in our range. Come on, man. Come on, man.
Any last words before we get out of here?
Great show. I'm glad it's my first show with Mark. This is something.
My first show was
Fire show. Fire show.
This is my first show on the Queen's Court.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
No.
It
I
is.
think so too. Like Mark has been around in a minute.
Really?
Nah, Mark ain't been around for a minute.
This is your first show?
yeah.
Well, welcome. And You
I'm
brought
just
the
here to
laugh of
spread the love.
night, calling Randall Lapato. I mean, that was the laugh of the night.
Yo, that was the quote of the night for real.
He could just cause some problems for us at times if you run down the wrong pothole, man. But you know, it's gonna be hard for the Knicks because we in scatter mode right now, and
Oh boy.
We're gonna have to put that on a shirt, right?
Oh, listen, and I told people about Randall. He don't have to be an all-star. I just want him to be a competent NBA player, man, and a little consistent. I lowered it down for him, and he just couldn't.
Oh wow. You lowered it down for him.
Wait,
lowered it
what I
down
said
for
at
him.
the end of the season? I said, bro, just play the game smart, and I will be okay. If he played the game smart, JC, I swear to God, I would not come on here and express myself about him the way
All right.
it is. Oh, this team could be better.
Staffer, any last words?
Queen, you already know it's always been a pleasure tonight. It was very entertaining. Shout out to Mark, shout out to Jarrell, shout out to TC, and shout out to my big brother, Big Freezy. Salute to him. Salute to the big man in the background, Sims. You already know, and it's always a pleasure, man. Shout out to the chat. Peace and love.
Jarrell?
Yeah, man. Salute to everybody, man. Thank you for the invite again. My first show with Mark, it went pretty well, man. I like
I
it,
like you,
Mark.
JC, because you look like you know your college basketball.
Yeah, I do. But yeah, salute to everybody. Salute to the chat. Salute to Sim for having us, you know, as a whole, and
The Podfather.
salute to the MBK fan.
All right. Tony?
Mark, man, it's a pleasure to have you back in the network. You know what I mean?
I miss you guys, man. I had all this pent up energy. I had a great day.
Yeah, I see. I'm sweating. I gotta work to try to keep the
I don't know.
Don't go missing.
Oh, man. God need to chill out on me, man, because he be getting these childlike hyperness, and sometimes it's hard to control, man. I gotta try and express myself.
Don't be a stranger. You still need your own show. Or shout out to the chat. Shout out to the chat. Hold up. I gotta give a last word of Kai Soto because they asking for it in the chat. So salute to y'all. And Queen, as always, it's a pleasure. We see you in 2 days, I guess, you know.
Yeah, definitely 2 days. And whoever want to
And tomorrow night.
Yeah.
Hopefully I get out early enough.
Yeah, I appreciate you, Tony, Jarrell, Mark,
Great
Staffer,
show,
the chat, Sim in the background for rocking with us. This was definitely a dope show. Next week we'll do point guards and second round point guards. I don't think there's going to be a point guard in the first round for us unless we trade down. And then we'll also talk about we'll talk about sleepers. Yeah.
Nice.
And there you have it. Appreciate you, fam. Next week, 8 o'clock.
Peace.